Welcome back to the Be Extraordinary podcast. I am joined by Michelle Ducato, up in Georgia, agency owner, independent operator extraordinaire, doing her thing up there. And Michelle, by the way, thanks for joining me. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. Your name has come up so many times in the best way possible over the last 90 days. Um, and I wanted to, the audience is internal. This is our team, and we really wanted to spotlight you on the newsletter for some reasons that I think are just super important. And immediately it just comes to my mind as like a leading indicators. Like you have all the leading indicators that you're about to break through, and it hasn't been easy. And we're going to go into that a little bit of your story. But before I do that, I bet most people within Urban Young don't know your background. So if you don't mind, I would love for you to give the condensed version of your background because I think it's very relevant to the listener because it's an impressive one, it's a cool one, it's a unique one, and I'd love you to share.
Um, okay, condensed. I'm going to try to do that. I'm not, I'm a talker, so I'm not that great at that, but I'm going to try. Uh, my background is in sales. I've never done anything where I haven't sold something. It just has come, it's just the way I was raised. Actually, it's just who I am. It's who God made me to be, is somebody who connects and sells an item or a service because I love building relationships with people. So I have sold when I first got, I was at LSU and I was selling mortgage loans. And then I sold copiers and then I sold pharmaceuticals. And then God had a different plan for me. And I came home to raise our two sons after a long career in pharmaceutical sales, of which I was never planning on leaving. But like I said, God had he had another plan for me. So I came home 18 years ago and homeschooled my sons. They are now a rising senior and a rising sophomore now. So we've been homeschooling for a long time. Obviously, now they are independent studiers. So um, my doors kind of opened up to um, other opportunities within that. So I've built a team while I was homeschooling during that time in a multi-level marketing company called doTERRA. I built a team of over 800 people that is still alive today, and did that while I was raising our boys. And then my brother asked about, or the kind of the idea of this Georgia office came up, and um, I love what you and Rod and Brett have built. I've watched it in our family, and just knowing my brother and how dynamic he is, just that opportunity to work with you guys just was like heck yes. So it came at a time that was perfect timing because I was looking for my neck, for an opportunity like this to build for our family. You know, kind of a legacy business up here in Georgia. And it's been a ride, such a cool ride. But yeah, so that brings me to today. I think I started with you guys May 5th, and we opened here in Georgia August 1st. So
How amazing is
yeah,
that? So, ironically, not knowing that exact date, that when this newsletter is released, it'll have been a year since we've kind of mutually said, "Hey, wouldn't this be fun? Let's do this."
yeah.
And I do want to hit on your tenure in pharmaceutical sales, and I do love the idea of like this transition. I think a lot of people can relate to that. It's like, hey, I thought this was my path, but God showed me, hey, here's another path. What do you think? And you've done a really artful job of listening and kind of navigating that. Now you're in this new season, and so I want to learn from that. I think we can all learn from that. And also, let's make no mistake. I mean, you get started in May. We've never written business in Georgia. We don't have any carrier appointments. You're new to the business. You could go on obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and you've had such a good attitude in how you've approached that. And Okay, well, if we don't have any carriers, well, how do we get carriers, right? And if we don't have any leads, we don't know the business. Well, how do I know the business? Well, I go get leads and I work on business and I train and I learn the business. And it's just been inspiring to watch because you're really an excuse killer for our ecosystem and for me to say, wow, like she's coming in with a posture and a confidence to overcome these challenges with what looks to be this true purpose in this season of your life. So first of all, congratulations on a monster month for you in April. At 2025 is when we're recording this, and it's by far and away your best month of production, correct? I mean, we're looking at,
Yes.
we still have a couple days to play. The bell hasn't rung. I'm sure you'll bind more business, but you're 63,000 in new business premium in Georgia, just short of 30 policies so far, almost five autos, right? Right there on the cusp of now going, okay, I'm producing. So congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's
And
exciting. I mean, I I'm just keeping my head down and just going for it and not thinking about the minute you think about the obstacles, the minute you think about the what ifs, and I mean, and I do, trust me, I have to continue to um uh redirect my mind. I have to continue to renew my mindset on a regular basis. I'm not superwoman. I still have those um those thoughts, limiting beliefs. And so I just continue to draw on my faith, and I continue to remember who I am. And I just keep my head down and just keep going. But my faith has a lot to do with my daily life. So that's what I would give credit to is that.
yeah, I just look at circumstantially, you would have more excuses than just about anyone, right? I mean, the not having carriers, it's tough to write business when you don't have carriers, right? It's tough to get carriers when you're not writing business. It's tough to learn the business until you've done it, right? So, but you mentioned this idea of focus. One, I appreciate you being vulnerable enough to share that because I agree with you. Like we all have those limiting beliefs. We call it, some of us call it the trickster, right? That little voice in your head that is distracting you to focus on these things of maybe what you don't have or what you could focus on that was preventing you from getting what you want or whatever it is. So how do you dispel that in a real way? You mentioned I'm keeping my head down. What does your day look like? When did you kick it into gear and you went out this full thing, full time? And what does your day look like? Because I'll tell you what I appreciate about you, one, you're just such uh, a light as far as how you communicate with people within our ecosystem. Just respectful, energy, curiosity, very little ego, even though you've had an incredible career. Um, you're on every training that you can be on. You're on every call you can be on. You're extremely supportive. So you've really done a great job of just plugging in, even though you're away from the mothership and just really just trying to soak up people with experience and soak up these relationships. But like, what does your day look like? Walk me in through, because like you didn't come, you've been in sales at a high level, right? You've called on doctors, you've gone off. What is translated for you, taking from that success into this, and now, hey, look, I'm after meeting mortgage brokers and realtors and people in my community. Like, bring me through that.
My day looks like I start with a quiet time with the Lord. I'm in Psalms right now. I read a psalm a day. Actually, I don't even get through a psalm a lot of times because I'll stop on a verse that just hits me, and I'll ruminate on that for the day, even, or even a couple days. It just depends. But I spend a lot of time journaling, um, and really sitting with the Lord. I do a workout in the morning. I try to do a workout 2 or 3 times a day or a week, just to keep my energy up. And then, it has definitely been, in, starting January 1, full time in this, and now I'm into April, it definitely has shifted a bit. So I'm having to figure out a juggling system of not getting stuck at the desk because it's a real thing. I know everybody who's doing this understands that. So trying to juggle getting out in the field weekly to go see my people, getting on the phone to call them. So a priority list for the day is important for me. And figuring that out is still challenging because I don't know the business well. And that's a thing that you figure out as you go and learn from everybody else that's already been doing it. So I've been reaching out to a lot of the seasoned agents and learning kind of their processes there. But a daily task list with priorities, kind of just laid out what's most important and trying to stick to that, which sometimes that can go off the rails too. So I'm working late. I'm not an 8 to 5 person because I can't be right now. So I'm working late. My husband's picking up tons of slack. My boys are phenomenal. Just picking up their slack, and our family's really just focused around this mission to build this agency. So it's a team effort here at the Ducato house, and that's really what my day looks like. It's consistently planned, but still having to juggle all the things. Does that answer your question?
It does, and I love that you mentioned it's a family effort, right? That priority, that the late nights, or somebody doing something and stepping in that you would typically. I'm sure it's been hard for you to let go of stuff that you've held on to for you mentioned all those years,
Mm.
homeschooling your boys, which is no small task, right? And but then transitioning to this new shift. But one thing, I think your humility obviously is obvious, but Rod, Herb, obviously your older brother, most may not even know that in the organization, but he's been around and he's marketed and sold at a high level, and he's been around a lot of people that have done it at a high level. And he still says to this day, he said, I've never been in the market with somebody that is as relentless, as planned, as active as you are, right? He went up there and he's like, dude, I was just worn out. I mean, she had every minute booked. She had appointments. She had follow up appointments. We had stops after the appointments that she had identified that we were going to stop into. And I think he went up there for just a handful of days. And you guys, he showed me the spreadsheet that you had made and you'd color coordinated. That you just are relentless. So, what's your mindset in the field when you make a trip into the field? What are you thinking about? Are you meeting strangers? Are you meeting warm, like, because he was blown away by whatever you guys did.
Well, that was early on. Once you establish your people that you're gonna really target, and that are going to partner with you, whether it's selling pharmaceuticals or whether it's selling insurance. You really hone in on those guys, and live with them. So that was early on. I'm not saying I don't do that now, but the hustle is real in any kind of thing you're trying to get set up and get going, right? I mean, I think back to pharmaceutical days, like we had to see 10 plus doctors a day. So
Yeah.
that is in my head. That is still in my head. It's like when you go out, you're going to make it worth it, and you're just going to hit people, just boom, boom, boom. And, you know, um, that's my mindset. Like, what's my route? I kind of have routes established that make it most effective to be out and hit and connect with, these people in this route. So I have several different routes that I've set up that, I'll go out tomorrow, and they're guys that, maybe I've seen last week. They don't care if I come in because I'm just coming in to say, hey, bring them a drink, or just come in to sit for 5 seconds, or, it's relaxing. It's relaxed. It's a it's a relationship to where it's not stuffy. When I come in, if they don't have time, you know, I'm aware of that. That was a very big thing in pharmaceuticals. You just kind of read the room, and I might pop in and say, hey, if they can't talk, I might write them a little note and just, leave them a little something, just so, because I was there. Just consistency and seeing my face or hearing me on the phone or getting a text from me. I think that is my mindset when I'm thinking about marketing and going out. You know, keep up my list and just try to keep juggling that specific task that is so important of marketing in general. you
Yeah, you're
know
out there making. It sounds like you're out there making friends, and yeah,
I
you
am out
mentioned,
making friends, yes.
yeah, playing and try, and you mentioned 10 a day. Was that physically to see physically 10 a day?
Yeah. I mean, that was like
Wow.
10 offices. You'd see more than 10 doctors because of, big practices or whatever. But that's my mindset when I'm going out for sure is I think kind of old school and right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't know if it is because sometimes that doesn't seem to work out great in this industry because I have to be quoting in the car, binding policies in the car. That's a real trick, when you need three screens or
Yep.
two screens, right? So I just use I use my phone and my laptop and I just make it happen. I'm sure that will evolve over time as well. All this seems to be evolving and changing month after month. So
Yeah, except for your grit, that's been constant. I mean, I'll tell you what, too, it's like, you mentioned going full time in January, and it's like we're right on the other side of like the 90-day mark, right? And there's something magical about, you always say, you get paid in this business for what you do 60 to 90 days before. And it's not just this business, it's mostly anything. And many times it can take much longer than that. But I'm looking at your numbers too, true referrals. I just think about you starting from scratch and really full time, full go January 1st. I mean, 63 total opportunities this month so far, 55 of them true referrals coming from real estate or home closings. Like, that's some really impressive stuff in the short amount of time, right? And then to be able to convert them with limited markets for you almost binding 30 policies of that, right? That just shows you have to be better. I mean, flat out, right? You have less resources and you have to be better. You have to be better with your time. You have to be more efficient. You have, right? You mentioned you're servicing, you're selling, you're marketing. I mean, you're wearing every single hat. If I'm wearing one hat, you're wearing 10. And so, but I love how you're leaning into the fact that, hey, that's what it takes when you're getting set up. That's what I heard. It's like, hey, when you're starting anything new, that's what it takes. And I'm doing what it takes. And I'm kind of working my way through this. Um, well, that's cool. What would be something lately in the last 60 to 90 days that you weren't doing prior that's starting to click where you go, you know what? This is working? Was it a new market? Was it simply more referral sources, or those referral sources sending more? What's clicked that's led to some pretty significant different results this past month than before?
well, I think the consistency and keeping up with the people that I initially met with and started the relationships with last fall when I launched, now they're getting busier. And I've been building those relationships, going to lunch with them, taking them coffee, sending them gift cards, doing stuff like that, and thanking them for partnering with me even when they were slow. But they're starting to pick up. I see a lot of that happening. I have gotten new markets. I've started quoting with the Colonial Group, Tower Hill, through that, and then Johnson and Johnson. I started. I've won some this month because of that, and that group of carriers that we can use within Johnson and Johnson. This month, I did get my first high value. Um, so that was a nice 20 grand worth of premiums there. So that was the big boost, I feel like, for this month, which was really fun to connect with those people and start building that relationship with that client. And so I feel like it's kind of those things. That and I have met new people since January, new referral partners since January that I look and get the referrals from them. I'm amazed, like, oh my gosh, like that didn't take much to get them to start sending me stuff, so um just gauging that, and also just trying to keep up with staying in touch with those people too. So I feel like those are the things that have changed, kind of are starting to change a little bit. And
How
then
did
I
you
just got
not?
Frontline, I think, too. So
That's great. That's great. Yeah,
yeah,
and Shout out to Matt Maimon. I know he's been a big advocate
totally.
of getting those
Yeah.
quoted, and he's always beating on our door for him. So I would ask you, how do you market, right, amongst the quote unquote industry experience and not being the quote unquote expert? Uh, do you use that? How do you overcome that, use that, hold that? I know what we think and believe, but I'm curious at what you think and believe as far as what you think you need to know to call on somebody.
I don't go in with the story that I'm new in this industry. I just don't say it. They don't ask, I don't say it. If I don't know something, I don't care if I've been in an industry for 25 years. There's always something you don't know. So I just let them know. I'll find out. Let me find out about that. So it's never really come up how long I've been doing this. If it does, I say, well, not long. You know, but and I kind of lean on my brother's experience of 14 years, or Erb and Young's experience of 14 years. I kind of spin it, if you will. And I also fake it till I make it. You've heard that. Be confident in who you are. Insurance doesn't have to define me as who, I'm an intelligent, confident person, regardless of the experience I have in a given field. So I don't need to be a know-it-all. I can find out if I don't know something, like I said a minute ago, but I haven't let that limit me. I mean, maybe in my head a little, but then I have to just push that out, because that will freeze me. That would freeze. I wouldn't want to go anywhere and do anything or talk to anybody, right?
Mhm.
So I kind of just leaned on the fact that um, I like talking to people. I think I can be fun to talk to. So I'm looking at it that way more so than, oh, I'm selling insurance and all the details around that, because that definitely would freeze me from doing anything if I
Yeah, there's
thought
a
about that long enough.
yeah, there's a confidence in them. Hey, I trust my intent. I trust my intelligence. I'm going to figure it out. If I don't know something, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert if I'm not, and I'm going to have fun doing it. You're a very curious person, right? I always think some of the most interesting people to talk to are the most interested. And you strike me that way. I think of you in that regard, right? You're very interested in others, and it makes you interesting, along with the interesting thing about your lives. And as a marketer and as a salesperson, I think people are attracted to that. They're drawn to that when you walk in a place, which I think is really cool. So, well, I just wanted to take this time to celebrate you. I would love for you to share anything with the marketing and sales internal, just borrowing from your experience. Take insurance inside, because flat out you're going to kill it. You are killing it, and you're breaking through. And I think that's encouraging in itself. It takes a special person to start from scratch. It takes an even more special person to start from scratch with no carriers, in an industry that they don't know. And I just have the highest amount of respect for you, but I also borrow so much from it. Um, and so, what would you say? What would be kind of an encouraging word or philosophy that you're working through right now that you could share with the team?
um I mean, the thing that keeps me going, like I started out with at the beginning, is you know um everything in life is surrounded by or stems from your creator, who made you, and what did he make you to be. And so I really lean a lot into my faith and in God and my Lord Jesus Christ. I spend my days throughout the day thinking about him and praying to him about things, or having just general conversations with the Lord throughout the day. um, you know that in and of itself is who I am, and it really bleeds into every part of my life, especially this, when you're in something that is so new, and when it really means a lot to my family to build this thing, so my encouragement would be to, if the best personal development book you could ever read in your life is the Bible. And if you don't know what to read, open up to Psalms, because they are your heart's kind of story of how you talk to God. So that'd be my encouragement. That's how I do life. And if I wanted to say anything to our team, it would be that a relationship with the Lord is the best thing, and it just helps in all areas of your life, personal, professional, spiritual, all that. I
Yes.
hope that
No,
answers your question.
no, that's so authentically you, and I appreciate it. And I just hear, faith, and the faith of what I'm doing matters. The faith that, uh, you know, the greater good, it's just all of it. So, and I couldn't agree with you more. And I just appreciate you sharing that. And I'm so excited about what's to come. I'm so excited for you to get what we would call a belief check, which is one of those months that go, you know what, this is worth it. You know what, I can do this. I had the belief in myself, but here's evidence that I am on the right track. And April 2025 is validation of the work that you've put in, that you're on the right track. And I can tell you, matter of fact, from all of us, this place is better because you're here. And we're just really grateful for the presence you bring, the faith you bring, and the energy that you bring to us all. And so we'll
Thank
continue
you.
to watch you write your story, and best to the family. And we'll talk very soon.
Thank you so much, Taylor. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks. All right.